where the coaching doesn't work out, what is usually the reason? Oh, it's the parents' emotions, always. They struggle with this. Maybe they have history from their own childhood. They just can't not get angry when their kids act out. It's by far the most common reason why things don't work. And I do the best I can. And the thing is, you can give people it's like dieting or fitness. You can give great advice, but it's up to that person to actually follow through with it. And because I used to teach fitness too. And it's still up to that person to follow through with your advice. And it's like that with coaching. They do their best. And I believe me, I do my best. And but yeah, if it doesn't work, it's because the parents can't put aside their emotions. Or they could be having difficulty in the marriage. And, there's a lot of different reasons. Hi there, Tabitha. Yeah, I just had to keep reset YouTube. It wasn't working again. And that's a real sore spot when coaching doesn't work. I find, I never know if it doesn't work. So there's different levels, because sometimes they keep working at stuff afterwards and then I'll hear from them. By the way, everything's great. Even though they were struggling when I left them, when we finished all the sessions, then they just kept working on it and then it went great. So I never really know unless they let me know. But there are definitely varying results. Oh, how sweet. It's Emily. I've been watching you since my daughter was born. I use all your ideas for every age, and we've had a breeze with her. Oh, how sweet. Good for you. You've done the work. I just give the advice. You're the ones who do all the work. This was so cute. It's a granddaughter story. I had to go to the doctor the other day, and it was my day to babysit my granddaughter. I do it once a week. So I had to take her into the doctor. She did not like it at all. So she kept saying, and she's only 18 months old. She kept saying, all done, all done. That's what she says when she's trying to get rid of someone. All done, all done. Oh, it was so cute. Oh, YouTube cut out. Darn it. I don't know what I was talking about. You'd have to ask your question again. Sorry about that. Oh, that was a good one. Okay, I'll read it again. What I might do is I might save that for TikTok, because Instagram's already heard that. So I'll save that one for TikTok. Right. Okay. It's about connecting, and it gets easier. Thanks so much for all your advice. Yeah, what I teach is not about discipline at all. The discipline's a tiny part of this. It's about connecting and bonding and having fun with your kids. Their love language is fun. I want you to have joy, levity, happiness in your family. And that's really my goal. I want you to enjoy your kids. I don't want you to have obedient soldiers. We don't want that. We want kids who have high self-esteem, they're self-disciplined, and they're just happy, right? So that's what we want. But everyone asks me about discipline, but that's not what I'm about at all. It's something that has to be done. It's a very tiny part of it, though. Like, I got this leadership cemented when my kids were little, and really discipline wasn't something that I did really after that, because I got it cemented very young. And but they had a voice. If I did something they didn't like, they'd say, they were very respectful. They'd say, Mom, I didn't think you were fair. I don't think that was right. And I'd say, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. So I'd make it up to them. They had a voice, but they never came at me in an unreasonable way, because they knew I would have said, well, no, that's ridiculous. So when they did come at me with something that they thought was unfair, it was very rare that I didn't agree with them. Very rare. Okay. How do you handle media blackout for one child's consequence when we have one TV and the other siblings want to watch TV? The other child can go in your room with a phone or an iPad. It's just the way it is. You never sequester the kid with media blackout. You sequester the other kids. Or what you could do, if you really only have one TV that can't be moved and you don't have an iPad or phone that you could give the other kid to watch, and they do suffer a little bit because it's a smaller screen, but it's a family thing. Everyone's affected by this. It's just part of being in a family. Besides, the other siblings are usually quite happy to be on a smaller screen when they know that that other sibling doesn't get any. So they don't usually complain about that. So yeah. But you sequester the other kids, not that kid. And then when they do have media blackout, you say, hey, look, no screen. So how about we play a game? You're trying to connect with them, right? You know what happens often is when you do play a game with the other kid, the other kids often come out and give up the screens and play too. Not so much older kids, but younger kids usually will. So it ends up being a nice family night. Okay, I've got to go over to, you heard that alarm go. I've got to go over to TikTok. And if you want to join me over there, it's BratBusters Parenting. If not, check out my website. It's BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board when you join my newsletter. You can look into my courses, coaching, and our podcast. My daughter and I do it together. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. So I'm hopping over to TikTok now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time whenever I'm doing a live. Happy parenting. By the way, thanks for the follows. I hit 700,000 this week on Instagram. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to answer that question as soon as I get set up here. It takes a bit longer for TikTok for people to come in. Instagram's fast. I never figured out why. Instagram, everyone turns up in one big clump. It's the only one that does that. Hello, Rachel. Ken, let me see. Stephanie, Angie, Cece. I've never known a Cece. I've seen the name before. Nicole, Mad, Anne-Marie, Catherine. Okay, I'm just reading them off now. Okay, so welcome. I'll just get going. Welcome to my live. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go to my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can sign up for my newsletter, get my free behavior board, or you can look at my courses, coaching. There's a big wait list for that right now, but I'll get to it eventually. And the podcast. The podcast is called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms. And if you want to watch us do it, my daughter and I do it together. She works with me. And you can see it on YouTube, BratBusters Parenting on YouTube. Anyway, I'm going to answer a question on YouTube. And it was from Rhyme8462. My 4-year-old was playing a pretend superhero game and accidentally punched my 5-year-old daughter, resulting in a nosebleed. Should I do 24-hour media blackout right away? No. The reason is that they're only 4. They don't really understand the levity in different behaviors. Like they don't really understand, oh, wait, I broke a glass as opposed to I gave my sister a nosebleed. Like lots of 2-year-olds who will break a TV, the parents flip out. But a 2-year-old doesn't understand the money in a TV. Do you see what I mean? So if they do something bad, you just follow along as normal. Generally, when I'm working with people, sometimes we don't. But if you're just doing this on your own, you just follow along with normal protocol with all those consequences. Now, what I would do, though, is I would say instead of doing a chore, what I would get them to, like as a consequence, I would get them to do something nice for the sister. Maybe make her bed, something, just do something nice for the sister. Okay. I'm expecting a knock on the door just because I've got some inspection guy coming in soon. So just to let you know. How to build self-esteem for a 9-year-old girl. So she's a tween. I've got too many answers for that. I would just start with the behavior board, and because you're on there too, and it's about connection, and it goes through. And I might look into the course if I were you, the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. It's got a whole bunch of information in there, just tons of it. The behavior board is more based on discipline, but it's also about building connection. But yeah, you might want to look into the course because that's sort of a big question. How do you make a kid happy? It's kind of like that. So yeah, there's not a quick answer for that. Sorry about that. Okay. Bum. Okay, I'm just waiting for questions. How do you manage a behavior board for a 3-year-old with a 5-year-old sibling? Oh, it's only one kid on the behavior board. That's the 3-year-old. The 1.5-year-old, you use consistent corrective action. If you go on my website, you can check out my behavior board. It has a whole section. It's a mini course. It's free. And it has a section on toddlers too. So it is the behavior board sort of, but it's also got a section on toddlers. Okay. My 6-year-old twins are constantly damaging the house to get their way. Just use the behavior board and put down something like no jumping on stuff or no, put down whatever they're doing, write it down as a rule. No damaging the house. I would put that down. I would say no damaging anything in the house. And when they do, there's a consequence. You know, we all learn through consequences, not through lectures and discussions. And, parents make this mistake a lot. They think that their kids do things and they have to lecture them on why they shouldn't do it. They already understand. They know right from wrong from past the age of about 3 for sure. They know right from wrong. And, but yeah, don't go into explaining things. Just use the behavior board, keep it short, and don't discuss all this stuff. We don't discuss bad behavior. We deal with it. Okay. Is it beneficial to discipline a 1-year-old? Well, I don't know about beneficial, but when they're between 0 or 10 months, I would say 10 months to 15 months, you use redirection, but you can say one word. If they do something naughty, you just say no, and you do it with a kind of a serious face, but you don't want to make them cry. You just say no, and then you redirect. Okay, pull them away from what they did wrong. You're just teaching them right from wrong at that age. From 16 to 35 months, they're starting to get it. So then you add the consistent corrective action, which is you remove them from the fun or remove fun from them. But when they're still babies, 0 to 15 months old, it's just redirection. I remember once though, I was about a 9 or 10 month old, and I was looking after these 2 babies. They were lying on a blanket, and they were just laying there playing with toys on a mobile or something. Anyway, and one of them, I didn't know they were a biter, but they turned and bit the other one. So I got it in time. It wasn't a bad bite. But then I said no to that 10-month-old, and I just looked at them like that. I said no. And they went to bite again. Then they looked at me, and then they didn't do it. That was, wow. I was really shocked at that. Not to say they wouldn't have tried again, but they don't learn the first time, by the way. It takes lots and lots of repetition with little ones. But I was quite shocked at that. What can we do to make our divorce process easier for the kids, 8 and 12? Our kids were 9 and 14 when we divorced. I would say the most important thing is you never fight or argue in front of the kids. Our kids never saw anything like that. We always got along, and we always put the kids first. So a lot of parents can't put their own feelings aside. We certainly did that. So yeah, we always put the kids first. There's always some trauma going on, a little, it's not like a super smooth transition. But I would say my kids did pretty well. We still went everywhere together with the kids, like, for all the school stuff and all that. So yeah, get along. That's what you can do. They don't care so much that you're divorcing. They just care that you're fighting. So yeah, it's the get along. That's it. Put your kids first. Love your kids more than you hate each other. Years ago, a long time ago, I taught a course, a seminar, and it was called Parenting Through Divorce. And I said, here's the rule. I want you to turn up alone, not with a new girlfriend or boyfriend or new spouse, whatever. Just the biological parents turn up separately and then meet in the parking lot and walk in together. Right? It was a bit of a test for me. Yeah, they were fighting in the parking lot. They were fighting down the hallway. They sat down there, and I said, sit together. They sat down. They were fighting when they sat down. And this was me at the front of the class like this. By the time they were all there, I said, I'm disgusted with you people. I just lost it. And they were all like this. They were all embarrassed. And I said, do you do this in front of your kids? I said, we're in public. I'm sure you do that in front of your. Oh, I just went off on them. I never taught it again. It just upset me. Yeah, get along. Get along. I often, when I'm coaching people, and then they'll say, but he did this or he did that. And I'm not even listening. Just you take the high road. I don't care what the other person does. Take the high road. My ex and I both took the high road, by the way. It was both ways. We were very lucky that way. That's embarrassing. Yeah, they were like little kids when I was talking. They were so embarrassed. Oh, I just went off on them. I lost it. Yep. I don't know if I helped any of them. Some of them did become clients after that. So I guess I helped those ones anyway. Do we put rude words on the behavior board? Yes, you do. You don't put any attitude on there, but you can put down no bad words and no name calling. Okay. They're very quantitative. They're very, specific. You can put that as the rule. You're so matter of fact. I love it. I hate wasting words. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to be friends. I don't care if anyone likes me or hates me. I could care less. I'm here to help you. I want you to enjoy parenting as much as I did. It was the most fun time of my whole life. It was joy. It's just joy. Now I got a granddaughter. It's just joy. I had her at the doctor the other day because I had to get a checkup. So, and I was babysitting her that day. So I had her with me. And my heart rate was I was just about not even registering. And the reason is I'm with my granddaughter. It's just pure joy, like just calming. I just love parenting, grandmothering. I love all that stuff. I want you to enjoy it too. I want you to get as much joy out of parenting as I did. There you go. That's why I'm here. I don't want you to just have nice kids. That's a side effect. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to have fun. I'm new to this live. What's your take on the word no? I like it. Yeah, it's right to the point. The kid does something naughty, say no, and here's your consequence. Don't get caught up in all that politically correct stuff. Kids don't care. They're not politically correct. And remember, we're addressing kids with respect in their world. All this discussion around their emotions and feelings, all these mini therapy sessions are absolute garbage, crap. It's absolute crap. Drives me insane. You get down on their level and you say, use your words. Jeez, oh, Lou. Oh, God, that stuff frustrates the heck out of me. It's just ignorant. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, childproof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, connect with toddlers in their world, not yours. You don't take them to the nail salon. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. Number 4, you discipline toddlers in their words. They're about actions, not words. Those mini therapy sessions are for the mother to make her feel good. They have nothing to do with the toddler. They will be parroting you. Yes, mommy, I'm sorry I hit. I won't do it again. And then they hit again and you're shocked. They're toddlers. Okay. Number 5, stop trying to figure them out. They're not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming. They have one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in here. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years and the first year you were a potato laying on a mattress. It's very disrespectful to ask them to use their words. It's just could you imagine if your spouse said that to you? Use your words. It's patronizing. It's rude. Use it. They are using their words. Their words are tantruming, kicking, screaming. That is their language. Respect that. Work with it. Don't expect them to become mini adults. Don't do the mini therapy sessions with them. It's just ridiculous. Sorry, I went off a bit there. I lost it. Okay, how often do you rotate toys? I honestly feel lazy with it and only do it once a month or so. When they get bored, that's when I rotate. Also, I was always introducing stuff into the mix. Like if I finished a toilet roll, that thing was used. Like I would tape a whole bunch of toilet rolls together and then I would tape the top of that big long tube to the dining room table. And my son would shoot his little Hot Wheels down there. So I was always thinking, like I was always introducing new stuff. They like new stuff. It doesn't have to be anything exciting. Like with my granddaughter, I had an old moisture container and it was just a metal one. So it just sort of slid on top, the lid slid on top, up and down. So I gave that to her and put some little blocks in there. Well, she had a blast with that thing. It's just an old container, right? She loved it. So it's new stuff that they like. It's not necessarily exciting stuff or expensive stuff. You know, you can have a mix. I had different baskets. Like I would have a basket that was science projects or magic tricks and another one that was art, a little art basket, arts and crafts. So I was always sort of coming up with new stuff. It's like classrooms are very good at that. They always have like activities and different stuff. So you want to keep them entertained. Sometimes they act out just because they're bored. But yeah, I rotated toys with my kids maybe once every few months. Because I was introducing all this other stuff so much. And we were out a lot. And also we had a toy library near us. So, and it was big stuff too. It was the big doll houses, the big slides that you put outside. It was really great. It was all free. It was attached to the regular public library. And you just go around back with your car because it was always some big thing. And it was a toy library. You'd get this toy for a week or two. I can't remember. And then you'd, hose it all down, wash it up, bring it back, and then you'd bring home a new one. So I was always bringing in new stuff. If you have friends, you can rotate toys with them. So remember, the new stuff is what they want. How do you encourage independent play? You start playing with them, show them how it's done. Then you say, oh, I'm going to go do the dishes. Get up and walk away. They're little. They might follow you. I don't know. I know my granddaughter follows me everywhere whenever I'm babysitting. And that's normal that they do that. But yeah, they'll eventually start independent play. You can't rush this stuff all the time. But if you've got something new, they're more likely to play with it on their own. How do you deal with other kids coming over who misbehave? If their parents are there, I do nothing. And if they're that awful and they're wrecking stuff, I never have them over again. So yeah, but if I'm in charge, I follow through with what I do. Like I use my own methods. So. I came from a special needs teacher setting to an in-home daycare setting. I love your content. Some stuff does cross over, but I've never taught or done daycare or been a child psychologist, but a lot of those people are my clients because they're different. I couldn't do those jobs, but that's business, it's job, and parenting is personal. But a lot of stuff does cross over, but a lot doesn't. Like one thing that's a total disaster at home, but works out beautifully in classrooms is a reward chart for good behavior. It works out because it's not personal at school because there's 30 kids on there and it's just not personal. Whereas if you were to use a reward chart for good behavior at home, it's a total disaster. What you're saying to the kids is you're normally rotten. If you should happen to be good, you'll get a gold star. Imagine if your spouse had a reward chart for you. You were good today. I'm going to give you a gold star. See, it's patronizing. Well, what the hell was I yesterday? You see, it's nasty. So that does not cross over. A behavior board says you're normally great, but if you should happen to do something bad, we'll deal with it. But a reward chart, I just treat good behavior like normal. I don't reward for normal, right? I'm not going out there saying please and thank you and holding doors for people, which I consider normal. I don't want a gold star for that. That's just normal. I'll tell you a funny story. If I see someone who's disabled or blind, I always go up to them and I say, oh, can I offer any assistance, right? Because I've worked with people with disabilities. So can I offer any assistance? And they often say no, or sometimes they say yes. By the way, never grab a blind person's arm. There's two reasons for that. It scares them. Also, they would rather hold your arm. Also, they're counting. A blind person is counting steps. If they know where they're going, they're counting. Don't interrupt that. Anyway, so I wait till they stop and then I'll offer. Anyway, I've always told my kids this. So I always said, you always help out someone. My son was trying to help a blind person on a bus, and he did it the way he was a teenager, and he was doing it the way I explained it. I don't remember what, I think they were blind. I can't remember. Anyway, and the person hit him and told him to F off. It was the last time I'm going to do that. I thought that was so funny. I said, well, they're not always appreciative. So you don't encourage positive reinforcement? No, that's just normal behavior. What does your spouse say? Oh, you were good today. Why would you do that? I treat good behavior like normal. We have a happy family. We're laughing. It's normal. I don't reward for that. That's treating it like it's an exception. It's treating it like it's not who they are. You see, it's an insult. I don't do it. My goal is always with kids to make them feel good about themselves. And I certainly don't do all that praising, over-praising. Praise is okay, but it's so overdone these days. You look at a kid, here's what I do. I'm very good at connecting with kids. You look at a 5-year-old little boy and you say to him, you're wonderful, you're special, you're such a good boy, you're so great. I just think you're terrific. I'm going to go do the dishes now. What I would do, hey, what are you playing? Can I play too? Which one makes him feel better? This is his face the first time. His face the second time. You see, play is their love language. Praise is not. So I'm very good at playing with kids. That's what makes them feel good. Does that make sense? What about when you tell your kid what they did wrong and they say, I don't care? So why would you respond to that? Just follow through with the consequence? Well, I don't care. Do whatever you want to me. Well, here's the consequence. Like, don't get pulled into that. That's manipulation. Okay. Do your methods work with children with disabilities? Mine has Down syndrome. Yeah, that's usually coaching, but a lot of my clients do have children with Down syndrome or special needs. And yeah, it does work. We do have to make some adjustments sometimes, or a lot of times. But yeah, it's just, I teach connection more than anything. So I teach how to connect with kids. When I was working with kids with Down syndrome and a lot more challenging stuff than that, it was always meeting them where they were, meeting them in their world, not mine. I was never trying to pull them up to my world. I was always meeting them where they were. Okay. Someone said, what are good consequences? Now, this is 3 and above. You use the behavior board. It's free on my website, BratBusters.com. And there's rules for every member of the family 3 and over. That's you included, of course, because your leaders are accountable also. So consequences for the parents could be like if you yell at them, which is your rule, no yelling, then your consequence could be 10 minutes of hide and seek. And you can never put no yelling for the kids because that's in the attitude department. You never address attitude. It's too big of an ask. Their bad attitude is your lack of leadership. So you got to work on yourself. Anyway, so their rule is no hitting. If they hit, you say, okay, so they have 2 consequences. The first one is a positive action. Just do a chore, sweep a floor, wipe a table. Doesn't have to be a big deal. It's just do a good deed is the whole idea. If they won't do that within the 10 minutes or whatever allotted to that, it should only take 2 minutes, but give them 10 minutes to procrastinate and whine and complain. Don't say a word. You're just timing, right? So then if they don't do that, then you resort to the second consequence, which is a negative deprivation. So the first one's a positive action. If they won't do that, then you do the negative deprivation. You take something away. It's usually 24-hour media blackout, which means no screens. And you got to be on there too. If you're not on there, you're not a leader. You're a dictator or an authority style. You got to be on there. You have to be accountable. My kids didn't get in trouble, really. It was me. I was always in trouble. I would say, fine, I'll do something that I'd forget. And so they loved it. I was always the one in trouble. I never used a behavior board, and I never would, because it's just a teaching tool. I don't want kids looking at a board. I want them looking right at me. And it just, the behavior board gets you organized and you start to get it. Like, oh, I get it. We're all accountable. It's just about being accountable. It's not about being good or bad. It's just about being accountable for what you do, right? That's all it is. Own it. Okay, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board if you join the newsletter. And you can look into my courses. I have one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. You can look into coaching. I'm sorry, I've got a really big intake form waitlist right now, but I will get to it eventually. And then the podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms. And you can also see us do it if you want, my daughter and I, on YouTube. BratBusters Parenting. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. Happy parenting. Bye now.